We had to like take
Yeah.
we had to take an egg and try to drop it from like
Yeah,
the
and they were
top of the
like,
building.
"There's a list of 10 things, and you can only use these materials. And then if your egg breaks, you fail." And I was like, "What the
Yeah.
fuck?"
I never did that.
The whole like I feel like when you're young, you should never fail. You should
Right?
like they should never teach kids. They should just never teach kids to fail until they're like old enough to understand what it means. Because you tell a kid that they fail and then they don't really know what that means, they're gonna start thinking bad about themselves.
Yeah.
Oh, we're gonna dive into this. Are you a participation trophy kind of guy?
Me?
Yeah.
Okay, look.
Yeah.
I'm not a participation trophy kind of guy. I
Okay.
think people who work hard should be rewarded for working hard. That's why people are better at things than other people, you know. But I think when people are young, that they should just teach them to have like more of an optimistic mindset. Like you didn't necessarily fail, but at least you tried your best. What did you do better? You know what I mean? Like you didn't pass, but you didn't fail. You attempted. But I guess that's a participation trophy. I don't know.
I don't know how I
I
feel
feel like
about it. It
in
was
elementary
interesting.
school, I feel like in elementary school, it's important not to like tell kids that they fail. But I
I'm not
guess we
against
didn't do
that.
we didn't do the egg thing because you don't learn physics in elementary school. So
Right.
fuck what I'm saying.
I think at a young age, I think participation awards are good. It's like a positive reinforcement for kids, because it's all about effort at the young age, especially in like sports or even in kindergarten, like you're there, you don't know any better. It's like the whole process of learning and growing. So for sports or anything like that, I do think participation awards are good, but there's like a cap for a certain age. Like I definitely think when you get around like 8 or 9, that's when it should stop. Probably even 7, like 5 or 6
Yeah.
and 7 depends on what it is too. Participation awards are okay.
Participation.
And then after that, there's a cap. Like no more.
Yeah.
I'm
Sorry.
glad you say that because like I do remember getting participation trophies when I was like 12, 13, 11, and like it would piss me off. Like
Oh, for sure.
I would be getting there like getting all the little trophies and watching them get their big trophies. And I'm just like, I'd rather have nothing right now.
Yeah, I
Yeah.
think I remember like not even for soccer because the participation awards were like capped for me at a certain age because that's my sport. But when my parents put me in other sports and like it was my first time trying it out, I was naturally good at them. But like when they would give out the participation awards and just being a competitive person, I was like, what the fuck is this? Like,
Yeah.
excuse me. I know it's my first time here, but like I'm
Yeah.
better than all y'all. So what's this?
Well, I think like especially with once you get to a competitive level, like especially in sports, like there's no more participation. Like everybody's there
For
to
sure.
play to win,
For sure.
and at that level, it's definitely like that. I don't even mean to really get into this.
Yeah.
I
No, I
never
know
Where
you
we
even
where we
didn't.
we
going
I
never
with
even
this?
started this,
introed the
but
show, guys. We're
Oh,
listening to High Expectations with
yeah.
Lauralee.
hey.
We're
Thanks
so
for
Welcome,
glad.
having
welcome.
Yeah,
me.
we're so glad you could finally make it.
Yeah, right.
Um, do you want to tell the people, the wonderful people listening, who you are,
Okay.
since they've now heard you talk so passionately about participation trophies?
Okay. I'm Lauralee Mateo. I'm a student at UNLV. I'm currently studying business entrepreneurship. It's my last semester, so I graduate in the spring. Woo woo. Can I get a
Hell
woo
yeah.
woo?
Woo
I don't
woo.
got a button for it, but we
Yeah.
got you.
Yes, thank you.
What do you mean?
And
Press button. Woo woo.
There we go.
yes,
Gotcha.
perfect. And I don't know what else should I say about myself.
I don't know. You kind of nailed it there.
You're in entrepreneurship. Do you have a specific path for that already? Obviously, you want to own a business, run a business.
Yeah. So I think the whole reasoning behind going into a business entrepreneurship is because you get so many aspects of business in there. One thing I don't really like about college is that when you pick a major, you're so set in stone down that path, and a lot of them render useless later on. A lot of people don't even use their degrees later on. So
Facts.
what I enjoyed about business entrepreneurship was the fact that, I got the management, I got finance, accounting, marketing, and I got different electives. So I got to do a bunch of different stuff. So I have a little bit of everything underneath my belt. And I actually started off as a biology major. Having like Asian family, Filipino, so they were like, "Oh, be a nurse, be a doctor, and all that." So all my life, I grew up, and I have the brains for it, I have the passion for it, but just the way I am, and just enjoying change and flexibility, and being able to pursue all of my ideas instead of one thing for the rest of my life. My first year, I got there, and I was like, "Yeah, do I want to like do extra schooling and pay all this money for something I want to do the rest of my life?" I was like, "Not really. This is not something I really want to do because I enjoy change. I enjoy the flexibility." And all of that stuff. So, and also there's a lot of doctors in my family already. And I think I actually have to give a lot of credit to my Aunt Meredith because she's a nurse. And I remember talking to her about it, my first year of college. And she was just like, we do have a lot of people already in this field. And one of the top surgeons at my hospital, his daughter went into business and she makes way more money than him. And, that's not something you have to do. And I was
Yeah.
like, you know what? Like, you're fucking right.
Yeah.
So I was out of there.
That's awesome. At least you figured it out like early on. I know a
Yeah.
lot of people don't figure that out later, and
Yeah.
that's why a lot of people don't use their degrees.
Mm-hmm.
Um, so ultimately, what I got from that, which was very well said, awesomely spoken, was the flexibility of being an entrepreneur is
Yeah.
more suitable to your lifestyle.
Mm-hmm.
Whereas,
Definitely.
so when you were majoring in biology, what was your career gonna be?
I was gonna go into pre-med, and I was either gonna go for an orthopedic surgeon. And the reasoning behind that is because I've had 2 knee surgeries from soccer, and my first orthopedic surgeon, he actually didn't fix my knee correctly. And I was seeing him for all my other injuries too. And like, he's a great doctor, truly great. But he didn't give enough like blood flow and oxygen when repairing my meniscus. So it didn't heal properly. There wasn't enough blood circulation. So I ended up tearing it literally 6 months later. And I
Wow.
knew like during my recovery process, because it really wasn't supposed to be that long, especially with how like athletic I was and how fast I recovered from things. It was only supposed to be like a 2 month like recovery, 2 to 3 month recovery time. And it ended, I just felt something wrong. You always know yourself the most,
Yeah.
the best, like if you're doing well or not. And nobody was listening to me. My coaches, my parents, no one was listening to me. And I was just like, something's freaking wrong. So they had me go through physical therapy again, had me do all of this stuff, and it ended up being torn again. So the reason why I wanted to be an orthopedic surgeon is because I was like, I would never do that to, like someone athletic, someone that wants to pursue a sport in college, something. I would never just do something like that. I was like, fuck this dude. Like, I'm gonna show
Yeah.
him up. I'm gonna go be an
Yeah.
orthopedic surgeon.
Take all his clients.
Yeah, I was like, fuck this
Patients,
dude.
patients, I guess, yeah.
And then, yeah, and then if not that, I was actually gonna do like be an ultrasound technician. My grandma in the Bay Area, she's actually one of those, and she makes dough. She's retired now, but they make
That's
dough
what's
out
up.
there. Just in the Bay Area in general, a lot of nurses and anyone in the medical field, they make dough out there. So I was down for that also because there's certain parts that you can do. You can do like the stomach, the heart, and the brain for like an ultrasound technician. And I was like, ooh, that'd be cool. Like, I'll do all three. I'll make all the money.
Wow.
And
Yeah, you make bread.
yeah, so then after my first year of, you know, and even your first year, you still don't even do that much. But I just did like a couple biology classes, and I was just like, yeah, no, like I don't have the patience for this. And I just know truly this is like not what I'm meant for. Like I could definitely do it and I would rock at it. I know that. But I was just like having to do this like the rest of my life and watch me like later on get into my career, do it for like 2 to 5 years. And I'd be like, let's go back to college and do something else. Like I was like, yeah, let's just not even go through that process and let's just change it now.
Yeah. Science was always hard for me. And I mean, I don't know what ultrasound technician would do or anything like that, but just working in a hospital to me in general, like, is a lot. Like, I was the kid that I would refuse to dissect anything in middle school in biology. Like, the teachers would be like, if
really?
you're not there, like,
I
you're gonna
love that
fail.
shit.
I was totally into that.
Yeah, they would literally be like, if you're not in the class or if you're not in the room for it, like, you're gonna fail. And like, I would just be like, all right, fail me, and I would leave. And like,
Damn.
they would have to like call my parents, and my mom would be like, I'm sorry, like, he's not gonna do it. And like, I can't. Like, I would faint.
I would have loved to be a part. I was like, I'll do it for you. I actually,
Yeah.
for my second surgery, I ended up actually taking out my own sutures for my knee.
I don't
What?
even know
Yeah,
what that is, but that just sounds
the
bad.
stitches,
Oh, you said
after a
stitches.
surgery.
Oh, okay,
Yeah,
okay,
they're
okay.
sutures. So yeah, I had like an appointment like 2 weeks later, and I was like looking at them one day in the car or whatever with my mom. She was like driving me somewhere, and I was like looking at it, and I was like, I gotta take these bitches out myself. And I just started taking them out. My mom was like, what the fuck are you doing? And I was like, hey, I just took my sutures out. She's like, you freaking weirdo. Like,
So did
what
you
the
end up
hell?
going, or did you just say fuck it?
I got to the appointment like 2 weeks later, and he was like, okay, like you took them out
Yeah.
yourself? And I was like, yeah, dude, like they look great, huh? And he
Yeah.
was like, I mean, you could have waited. And I was like, I could have, but now you just have to check and make sure it looks good. And he was
Right.
like, all right, this bitch, like,
Yeah,
Crafty.
that's wild. I would definitely not.
yeah,
do that.
I was totally into my surgeries, like totally into it. So,
That's actually
When I was in
interesting.
middle school, we dissected a shark,
oh,
Really?
damn.
and the shark we dissected had a baby inside of it.
Oh,
It was like the coolest shit ever. And like I
oh.
wasn't touching the shark because there was other people in my group, and I was like, fuck it. I always was like the kid. I didn't really care. If I did it and like there was other people like, yeah, let me do it, let me cut it. But I was like, yeah, I'm for sure watching. And like this girl like pulls out this baby shark, and we're like, whoa, what the fuck is going on?
See, like when I watch this stuff on TV, I like look away and I can like handle it. But like if I was standing right there and like you guys were dissecting a shark, if you cut it in half and just ripped it open, like I would probably just like faint or like get lightheaded at least and like dizzy. And
Does that happen to you like when you see like blood too? Like can you see blood?
I mean,
or,
I
like-
can see blood in general, but like, I mean, like if I see someone's ankle sideways and their bones sticking out, like that's
Oh,
gonna mess with me.
Oh, so
Yeah.
I'm wondering, can you watch like the pimple popper videos? Because I can
I
totally
actually
watch
like
the
the
crap
pimple
out of it.
popper ones.
Oh, I can watch the
Which is
crap
weird.
out of those. Like I will sit there for
Like-
hours watching the shit out of them.
Like those are nasty, but like they don't like freak me out. Also, like
See, those are almost more gross to me.
Really?
than,
I can
like,
watch those
I
while
could see somebody
eating.
like sounds allegory. Let me word
I'm like,
this
let me
shit
eat some
properly.
fries. I'll just scroll through this. I'm like, oh my God, this is so interesting.
so I can't eat during it for sure.
Oh, really? I
Yeah.
totally can. I'm like, oh, that was gross. Let me get some more fries.
I don't have a weak stomach. Like I wouldn't throw up from watching a pimple popping video, but like it's just nasty to me. Like it's like, oh.
It is totally nasty, but I guess.
But it's like one of those satisfying
See,
things.
I was
See,
about to
I'll
say,
just go
it
watch
is a
the soap get
satisfying
cut.
thing.
Like I'll
Yeah.
stick to the soap.
Okay,
You know what I mean?
yeah.
Or like them.
Soap guy.
Yeah.
Soap guy.
So, you don't go all the way, bro. You're just a soap
You're
guy.
just a soap
You're not into the
dude.
pimple popping. So when you tore your meniscus, is that why you like, or do you still play soccer, or did like that stop you from playing soccer at a higher level, or?
Good question. So yeah, when I tore my meniscus for the second time, there was actually another surgery I went in for too. I went in for like a lateral release too my first surgery. So then by the second time, you know, the recovery from that, like at that point, I was just kind of like, wow, like I don't know. And I was at a point where like I was pushed so hard by like everyone around me to like recover so quickly and just really get back into it
So
because I was at
you were
such
that good. My bad to
yeah.
cut you off, but you're
Yeah. No,
you
you're good. So at that point, I was just like, I absolutely hated soccer after that was like my junior year. No, that was so going into senior year, I think, for my second surgery. And like I recovered really well and I was still playing, but like I just hated it at that point. And truthfully, during like, senior year, you do all your college applications and stuff. I still had I had offers for like full rides for both academic and athletic for a couple different places, and I just I had to sit there and kind of just like find it in myself to like make that decision. And I just finally came to the conclusion this could totally happen again.
Yeah.
And so am I gonna put myself through all of this like strain in college, having to study too, because at that time I was still going for biology and I was still planning on doing pre-med and everything like that. So I was like, do I want to do that and do soccer at the same time, possibly tear my meniscus or something else like my ACL or anything like that? Because now once you get any knee injury, you're prone to it like
Yeah.
way more. You're way more susceptible to getting them again. So I was like, do I want to go through this a third time in college while studying biology? And I was like, you know what? No, like that's not. I was like, also I also want to walk when I'm 30, so let's just not go through that. And luckily my parents were very supportive at that point, and they were like, you know what, you still have like your academic scholarships, so like do whatever like you feel comfortable with. So that was like really helpful. But there was a time like after senior year of high school, I literally did not want to be around soccer. I did not want to talk about soccer or anything like that. Like I absolutely like my family, I was like, don't talk to me about it. Don't invite me to my siblings' games. I do not want to be anywhere near it. And now I'm finally at a place where, like, it happened maybe like 2 years ago. I got to a place where I'm like, okay, like I can do this again. Like, it's not like some, morbid memory, like something I absolutely hate. It's not, it's something I've come to terms with fully and I'm like totally accepting of.
Yeah,
So,
that's really interesting actually, because I had something similar to where my junior year of high school, same thing. Like baseball just became this whole work thing, and everyone was putting pressure to do this and do that. And like I would go to like scouting camps and scouting stuff, and then I had chances to go to Division 3 and play like nothing like that crazy, but
yeah.
yeah, it just became so not fun that I got to the point that I graduated early and like I didn't even try to play baseball my senior year of high
Yeah.
school. And then yeah, like when I took myself out of that and like started just like being a spectator and like playing softball and like stuff like that, like I really started to enjoy the game again. And like
Yeah.
even if I could have pursued it, like I still think I'm like you said, I'm pretty comfortable now with the decision that like
Yeah.
I didn't take that path.
Yeah, and I think also one of the biggest things my parents were able to learn from that and take from my experience with my surgeries and, just how hard they pushed me and just like it wasn't even from like a hard place. It was like from a very like we know you can be very successful with this. Like it was a good push, but like
Mm-hmm.
when I was going through my injuries, like it felt like nobody was listening to me, and I felt like
Yeah.
if they did listen to me, my coaches, my parents, all my trainers, if they were all listening to me, I probably wouldn't have gone through the second surgery if we had just caught it. I probably would have to fix it, but I probably wouldn't have gone through so much recovery and so much pain if they had just listened to me like, the first time
Right.
around. So I think my parents' best outcome from that actually is just with my siblings. I have 5 siblings. I'm the oldest of
Oh
6.
wow.
Yeah. So with my siblings, they all play soccer and everything like that. And because I was so competitive and so into it, traveling all the time and doing, showcases for college coaches and all that, the best thing they took out of that was, to let my siblings like live their life. And, if they don't want to go to practice one day because they're just feeling tired or like, from school or just overwhelmed one day, because as competitive players, you do practice like pretty
Yeah.
much every day,
Yeah.
you play every day. So they're like, if they're having an off day, like listen to them and, go to homecoming, go to prom, go to Sadie's, do like the school events. It's okay to miss your competitive sports for normal high school things, like for normal human being things. And that was a lot of things I missed out on when I was going through it. But your first child, that's always a learning experience for
Yeah.
every parent. So I'm really happy that's what my parents like got out of me. And if it was through any other sibling, I don't think it would have been as helpful. And also, I just feel like I'm a lot stronger emotionally than all of my other siblings too. So like if any of other of them went through it, I would be like, they'd just be like torn to bits.
Yeah.
They'd just be like, yeah, they would just be some
Your
dirt.
siblings do not fuck with you. They just know they're like, yeah, don't mess with Lauralee today. She's on one. She will whoop your ass.
Yeah,
No,
but we have a
that
good relationship too.
hell
It's
yeah,
not,
hell yeah.
yeah.
No, of course. But
Oh, sorry. Go ahead.
no, you go ahead.
Okay. I was gonna say, do you still play soccer just like recreation? Like you sign up for fun? Do you play leagues at all? Or
Actually, no, I do not. I have not like played a match or anything like that. I'll sit around and like juggle or something like that. Um, but truthfully, no. If I was to go back into like, you could do like Mexican league or like an indoor league, which I did on top of competitive back in high school and all that. So I was at it all the time. But yeah, no, I just, right now my priority is just getting through my last semester and so be it. If I feel like picking up a ball and go joining an adult league, I totally will. But I also feel like that's definitely the best way to get fucking injured
I was
because
about to
those people
say,
don't even know how to play most of the time. They're not like super technical, it's just like physical and that's just how you get fucked
Yeah.
up. And I'm just like, yeah, no, I'll pass. Like, I don't want to play with these chumps. Like,
yeah. I was about to say, I play in like the adult softball leagues, but I was even thinking in soccer, like you were saying, it's just still, I feel like just a higher risk of getting hurt.
for
And even just
sure.
like,
Especially when most other people are just doing it for fun, like shits and giggles. And I'm like,
yeah,
Yeah.
okay, well,
And
I'm
you're
not,
like,
that's not what I'm here for.
right.
yeah,
You're
Like,
actually like trying to like
exactly.
just get off and like,
yeah.
I was gonna ask you, so you brought up like everything that your parents got from raising you, which I feel a lot of the same because I'm like, I only have one sibling, but I have a bunch of like younger cousins, and we all kind of grew up. Like, obviously, I was born first, but we all kind of grew up together, and so I feel a certain responsibility towards my younger family members to like set a good example. Um, do you feel like since you're your parents learn so much from you. Do you feel like you do set that good example for them, or do you acknowledge that, or do you care?
I for sure set that example. I'm a bomb ass older sister. Yeah, I do think I have really set the standards high for my siblings. Actually, to be so honest, just because how successful I was with sports and academics too.
You're very knowledgeable. Like,
yeah.
I mean, you basically performed your own surgery.
Yeah, straight
You're,
up.
you're very knowledgeable for sure.
Yeah. I watched a couple of YouTube videos. Not just kidding. It just came to me in the middle of the night in a dream. I decided, I'm a surgeon today. Yeah, no, I think I really actually set the standards pretty high. As a first child, not even just being a good example for my other siblings, but just academically, I think I really set the standards high because I was just anything I put my heart into or just try. I just always, it's also just being competitive. I just always want to be the best at it. So academically, I always got A's and everything like that. I always got all that good stuff. So my siblings, I think maybe that's one thing that my parents have gotten used to over the years, them just not excelling as far as I did in school, just because I went for all the like honors and
Mhm.
AP courses. And, that's another thing they learned from my experience in high school too. It doesn't really matter if you take honors or AP courses. It just matters your GPA if you're
Yeah,
going to go play
right.
college sports. As long as your GPA is high, it doesn't matter what fucking courses you actually take. So none of my siblings, my parents didn't stress them doing like honors or AP after that too. So um, I definitely don't think my siblings have as much pressure as I did too to get good grades as well. So, like if they got like a B or a C, like they'd be like, okay, cool. Whereas I probably would have been like, what the fuck is this? Like what?
Right.
And I'd be like, well, actually I wouldn't even know that feeling because I've never done that. So
I got my first like B in freshman year of high school or sophomore year of high school in geometry, and my mom like flipped out on me. Like she was so mad. Like she made me feel like I was the biggest disgrace in the world.
dude,
And my mom's a great woman, but like she totally used to go so hard on me for that school shit. Like it
yeah,
was kind of
dude.
ridiculous. Like it pushed me to be smart,
Yeah.
but
I think for
at
myself
what
too,
cost?
At what
because
cost?
my parents were so focused on my siblings by the time I got to college. So like I got my first C in college, to be so real. Truthfully, sometimes it doesn't even matter how hard you try. Cause sometimes it could just be the professor. The professor could just be a fucking ass, dude, in the way he
Yeah.
grades. And it's like that for all the students. So the first time I got a C, and I've only gotten like maybe 2 or 3 C's throughout college, everything A's and B's. But the very first time I got a C in college, that was my very first C ever. I was like, what? I think I was harder on myself than my parents. I was like crying. I was like, Mom, Dad, I'm so sorry I disappointed you. I got a C. And they're like, well, like you tried your best. And I was like, yeah, I did try my best. And they're like, all right. And I was like,
Yeah.
oh, okay. So
It's
I was
a
way
sense
harder
of
than my
freedom.
parents were. Yeah, my mom was like, that's college be like that. And I was like,
College is
it
hard.
be like that. It's hard out here.
Yeah, no, it's interesting. You guys are the oldest sibling. I'm the baby of the family. I have an older sister, and
Chump.
that's it. Yeah.
Okay.
Do you feel
So
any pressure? Do you
Weenie.
feel any pressure at all, or is
no,
it
I
just
was
like
actually
everything's
gonna.
good?
It's interesting.
Life's good
So
over
Yeah,
there.
right. I
yeah,
feel like
I
if I
was.
fuck up, it's like
Yeah, see, I was gonna ask if you guys were. I kind of feel like I know the answer for you, but like, would you consider yourself more of a rule follower or like a rebellion?
Oh, that's a good question because I also feel like I'm the black sheep of the family, which is like being like excelling at everything and then also feeling like the black sheep of the family is just so fucking it's the weirdest thing. Like
Yeah.
I don't even think my parents would even acknowledge me calling myself the black sheep, but I definitely feel like I'm the oddball out. I just think just my personality and like my openness and my vulgarity at times can be like so strange to them and just
Mhm.
like inappropriate. I would say is like the best word, truthfully. And yeah, so it can be like a little strange for them at times. So that's why I feel more of the black sheep, and also just because like you know you do my parents did find out I smoked weed in high school. I got in trouble for that in high school. But then once I got to college they knew I smoked weed too, so I think
Yeah.
that kind of like, especially as the first child too, and none of my other siblings were doing that, so that kind of made me like the black sheep a little bit. They're like, oh, she does drugs, and I'm like, it's marijuana, like
Right.
I'm like, what the
Right.
fuck. But yeah, sorry mom if you see this. Um um Nah, she's blocked. No, just kidding.
She's
but now that it's legal and stuff, they're like, okay, well, it's legal, just don't bring it around your siblings. And I don't think I actually answered that question earlier about being like a good example. So like, yeah, I am a good example. I did. I set the standards high, but also at the same times when it comes to like my personal life and doing things that I wouldn't want my siblings to do at that age, I definitely keep away from them. You know what I'm saying? Like,
yeah.
they had definitely have seen me like plastered, drunk, and stuff like that. But when it comes to like recreational things, I definitely keep out of sight from them.
Yeah.
But have I given them a speech like when they got to a certain age, like okay,
Right.
so you're at this age, like things are gonna happen in high school, you might get pressured, and if you end up feeling like you're getting sucked into that pressure, I would definitely rather you come to me and try it with me for your first time, hoping it's just marijuana. I'm hoping that's what,
Right.
like, because
Yeah.
that's all I did. I was if they came to me for something else, I'd be like, okay, we need to have a serious talk.
Let's have a sit down.
Let's have a sit down and like let me lecture you. You're not a disappointment, but I am disappointed.
It is important though, as like I feel like as an older sibling, to pass on the knowledge that you've learned to
For
your
sure.
siblings, because you are the closest person to them, like with more knowledge to them. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
But that's crazy because, like I was saying, like my sister was like the rule follower. Like she's insanely smart. She's insanely successful. Like she could take 4 extra classes and be an AP and get straight A's. And like she's like the A child. Like she's the star child in our family for sure. So like I feel like when my parents were like raising me, like going through everything, like they never went through that like rebellion stage. Like my sister never got caught with weed in her car. My sister never had her parents or her friend or her friends' parents call them like, "Oh, your kid is drunk. Like we need you to come pick them up." Like things that I had like my parents go through, like they had never experienced before. So like it's also interesting that like you guys went through it as the first child, but like my parents went through it as the second child. I just didn't know how common that was. Or
Bro, one time I got a ticket for smoking. I think we ditched school and we went and like smoked on this bench, like in this fucking neighborhood. And
That was the
somebody
best.
like had called the cops, and we're like walking back to the car and we see the cops and we're like, oh shit. And like or we see a cop drive by, and like I realized I dropped my keys at this point, and I'm like, oh my gosh. And like now the cops are there, and I'm like young, I really have no idea what to do. But long story short, they end up fucking catching us with weed, and then the cop was the one who found my keys, so that was just like all bad. And then like they ended up just writing us a ticket, and we had to go to court. And like I took care of the ticket altogether. I went to court, like I was like 17 or 18 at this point. I went to court, got it all handled, and then like I left the court receipt in my above my mirror, my front mirror. What's that called?
Like your dashboard?
Yeah, like the dashboard mirror. You know what I mean?
Yeah,
The one that
yeah,
folds down. Does that have a name? Foldable mirror.
It'll come to me later.
Yeah,
damn,
right.
see, that's crazy.
But
that,
look,
like,
my mom,
keep going though.
my mom, like literally fucking like I don't know. I must have been tired as fuck or something. And she was like, I need to see your keys or something. She must have seen it in there. And she went in my car and found it and like left it on there. And like she left me a note. Like it was just so fucking crazy. And like I just remember like thinking like, man, I really almost got away with this. And then no, and it was such a big deal.
That's so funny because still to this day, like, I mean, I did butt head with my parents, obviously growing up, that's a thing, but still to this day, like anytime something goes wrong, like I'll immediately call them. Like the one time I got arrested, like when I got out and I got back home and everything, like the first thing I did was like call my mom, call my dad, like, hey, like I fucked up. And it was like 4 or 5 in the morning. It's like they already knew something was wrong, but I was like, hey, I fucked up. Just got home. I was arrested for blah, blah, possession of weed, this and that. And like, so like still, yeah, I don't know. I just like always would tell them first and like they obviously be pissed, but yeah, I don't know. I just always had that relationship with my parents like that. I was just like, all right, they probably have a better idea how to handle this situation than I do. Like, fuck, I need help. I don't know.
My mom would act like weed was like heroin.
I mean, they tried to get me to stop
until
for
it got
so
legalized.
long,
They were just like, what? I was
like, it's
what?
a drug. It's a drug. That's all I know.
I was
It's a
like,
drug.
this makes me hungry.
Yeah, when I would get caught, and I would tell them like, this was like years ago now, like probably 8-9 years ago now, when I was like 17, 18. I was like, it's gonna be legal, like it's gonna be legalized everywhere, blah blah, this and that, and like they just really didn't believe me, and I'm just like, we're finally there. We're getting there.
I know.
I feel
Hopefully,
like going. Oh, sorry.
no, you go ahead.
I feel like going back to like the little rule breaker or like rule follower. Also, like I guess I was considered like a rule follower, but that's just because like I had such high standards and I like met and exceeded those expectations for my parents. But also at the same time, I think that also made me more sneaky. So a lot and responsible at the same time. So a
Yeah.
lot of the things that I did do when I did sneak out of the house and stuff like that, I had to be on my P's and Q's, and I was definitely very responsible about like going out and partying and stuff because I was still playing soccer too. So a lot of the times I didn't even get to stay out that late. But if I wanted to like drink or anything like that, I was never drinking and driving. That's something I solely stick to this day. I never drink and drive or anything like that. I think that's the most stupid thing you could ever do in your life. You're playing with your own life, and that's the
Right.
one thing I do not mess with. So I was always really responsible about that. So I think that's also one thing my mom actually really appreciates. And as open as our relationship is, like she would know when I would go out to parties if I wasn't sneaking out. So she always knew like I would be responsible, and if I was too drunk, she knew I would sleep in my car and nap it off or whatever, and I'd be home. She knew that. So I thanks mom for trusting me so much.
Yeah. Hell yeah. No, for sure.
That's good that you guys have like a good relationship. Like I know you're close as fuck with your family.
Yeah.
That's really good. I want to talk to you about how like school has been during like this whole coronavirus.
Oh,
Because I'm not in school, Donnie's not in school. So you are in school. I know you've been working like really hard at school. You said you only have a semester left.
yeah.
How has it been like finishing your degree in these times?
Truthfully, so not that I don't mind online classes, because I really don't. Like I actually feel like I do better, like because when you just for online classes I've taken before corona happened, most of the times I already knew like, okay, I would attend the lecture, but I still basically like like the attention's not there, like the energy's not there as you would as an in-person class. So I would always, sit there, participate a little bit, but you're basically teaching it to yourself, learning yourself afterwards. So that transition, especially when you get to like your last semesters, those are all your higher level courses and like some of your electives. So like some of those you definitely want them in person, and like all of them are supposed to be in person, these last classes. So this past semester, so the fall 2020 and then this spring 2021, I definitely need these classes in person. So, especially with some of the professors I've had, and now having them online only, and that's the only option. Yeah, I am checked out. I'll log in and I do not pay attention because like the energy's not there, or like maybe they have an accent and you can't really like fully take in or understand any of that. So I'm just like checked out truthfully. So I always end up having to teach myself afterwards, and that's just something I've accepted. I know some people probably struggle with that more, but I've succeeded in the past with online classes, so this is not something new to me. So would I prefer some of them to be in person? Definitely 1000%, because then you can question them and have like a time an answer in real time and everything like that. There's no like time lapse waiting for an answer or like a confusion or anything like that. But it is what it is, and it's my last semester. So be it. I'm just ready to get the fuck out of here. So I'm just dealing with it. I don't really
Oh yeah.
care. I'm going
Yeah.
with it.
Yeah, no, online classes were never my favorite for basically those exact same reasons. Like it's so easy to just zone out and not pay
Yeah.
attention. And then if you miss something for like a minute or two, you really can't just like raise your hand real quick and be like, "Hey, I missed this. Like, what was that?" Or
Yeah.
you basically just lost and you have to go back and reteach yourself everything.
I think something to like really kind of like help with that. I think something that like the students have done to be more involved during corona. I know like these past 2 semesters everyone's been more involved on GroupMe. So the class, all the students in the class will go out of their way. Someone will make a GroupMe, everyone joins in. So then everyone in that class, even if it's a different section, are all in this GroupMe. So if you do miss a class, everyone's kind of there to support you. They'll answer your questions if the professor's not answering on time. Usually we all actually, the students ask each other first to see if, because some people actually do pay attention, they do need that, whereas other people like, I just feel like I'm also naturally smart, so I don't need to pay attention. It's fine, I can teach myself later, that's fine, because I'll just excel. Truthfully, it's fine. Like I know I'll be good even if I'm zoned out, it's fine. And if I don't understand it, I'll take the extra time to get it. So that doesn't matter to me. But like the students definitely will in the GroupMe, they'll answer the questions. They're very supportive. So I think that's a way around it that the students have definitely done a great job taking the initiative themselves just to, get through it together. because we're all
Yeah.
in a weird time. So I think
Right.
everyone's very
It's all we
understanding
can
of
do.
that. Yeah. So we're all like hand in hand, kumbaya. Like, okay, we're doing this. And we're like, all right, fuck it.
That's
Yeah,
good.
and
That
not to not to
no,
get into like the Reddit and that side of it, but just to show the power of the newer generations and how we use the internet to really like succeed and help each other grow. Like there's these Facebook groups where like you can join, like if you're a podcaster, if you're into basket weaving, like whatever your passion is, like you can literally join these Facebook groups, these group me's, these things that people just create, and they're like, hey, we're just gonna help each other. And like we've all been where the new people are, and we've all been in different positions. So, like we're all just gonna help each other. And like, yeah, no one, like the teacher, maybe some teachers do recommend, hey, get a group me and talk to each other. But like you said, that's all the students just take initiative. Like,
Mhm.
all right, if we're in this tough situation, like we can still all talk to each other and still all communicate despite not being able to meet each other and go to class together.
Yeah.
And like they found ways to do that.
Mm-hmm.
And yeah, I'm
It's
sure
the
it helps
closest
a
thing
lot
we
of
have
people.
too. Yeah. To real time. So we all know that we'll get the answers faster, trying to get it through other students
Mhm.
and ourselves before going to the teacher. And if absolutely no one knows, someone will, email the professor or whatever. But we don't even know the wait time for that most of the times. I think also online classes are very disorganized, and a lot of the teachers are really trying to like figure it out at the same time. So even the professors are all just we're all just kind of here.
Yeah, exactly.
We're all just
Everyone's
here.
trying to figure it out for sure. That's
Yeah.
crazy though.
It
Yeah,
is definitely.
I am gonna go back to school next semester, hopefully.
Good for
So
you.
hopefully everything is kind of figured out by then. I can take classes
Yeah.
in person, but if not, I'll probably just take like one or two at a time. But we'll
Yeah,
see.
it starts slow. It's never too late. That's one thing I always stress. If you want to go back to school, anything you want to do for yourself, it's never too late. There's never a wrong time. Definitely do that shit because everyone has their own timeline. Don't let other people like degrade you or like demean you or anything like that because you're starting late, quote
Right.
unquote. No, it's all on you. And especially if you're paying for it or putting, your time, your money, your effort into it, that's on you. Congrats to you. Like humble yourself. Okay.
Right.
It's for sure your own timeline. So I
Yeah.
always agree with that. Like if you want to go back to school, if you want to do this, I'm supportive. Like
Do they have any classes in person right now?
I think they have a couple, but truthfully, when I signed up for all my classes, I didn't even have the option. Remember seeing some fucking email in my school email saying like, "Oh, we do have like a couple like in person," but when I went to sign up for my courses, I didn't see any in person. So
Okay.
I'm guessing no. I think they might have changed it, but I truthfully couldn't give you the actual answer.
Yeah. Have they said when? Like, do they have a timeline yet as to when? Are we just waiting on the vaccine, like before they can let people back into schools?
Alert! I don't
Are they
even
gonna
know.
make people take the vaccine to get back into universities?
Do that? Let's
Some
just not
said-
even get into that.
I was gonna say, I think some, yeah, I was gonna say just for the sake of it, I think some said they are. I don't know which one said they are, but
Man.
I do have to go get my tetanus booster again to go back to school because that ran out.
Alert.
But other than that, yeah, that sucks. I hate
Right.
shots so much.
Yeah.
Dude, I remember one time it had to be like maybe a year or two ago. No, it had to be like 2.5 years ago. They're like, "Oh, you can't do your semester until you get your tetanus shot." I was like, "What the fuck? What?
Yeah.
No." And I
hate
went and I
needles.
got that, and I was like, "What the hell?" I'm like, here.
Right.
I'm already paying to be here. You want me to get a shot
Yeah.
too? Like, I don't even remember sending you like my vaccine records. Like, how the hell do you know I need this again?
Right.
You're not gonna let me do my
And
classes.
like, why is tetanus so like why do we all
That's
need
like
the
that's like a 10-year shot too. Like, so
Right.
I was
Last
like, how
10
the hell
years.
did you know that it was expired?
like is there just tetanus like on everything? Like
I
that's
know
why
it
we
has
all
to do
need
with
this tetanus?
rust. I don't know about anything else.
Yeah, I don't know.
It has to do with like rust getting in your bloodstream. And like if you don't have your tetanus up to date and like you get cut by like a rusty nail or something like that, like you have to go to the hospital and get a tetanus shot.
Oh yeah.
So like they want to avoid that situation and basically get everyone there in case something like that happens. Like they don't have to worry about someone dying from it.
Yeah, well,
I don't know how often or how common it is, but like that's just how I understand it at least.
that
Because
makes
my
sense.
uncle, because like people don't normally get tetanus boosters. Like I know when my uncle was in Mexico, he like it was either his hand or his foot or he stepped on it or something, but he basically like hit a rusty nail and yeah, he had to go to the hospital and get a tetanus shot.
Oh damn.
Yeah.
Wow. Like if you stepped on a nail,
Ooh.
I don't remember if he like stepped on it or like he
painful
hit it on
feelings.
something or whatever.
Would you rather
but
step on a nail or a Lego?
a Lego?
Lego.
Yeah, for sure. Like I said, I hate
Lego,
needles.
for sure.
Like,
Like, would you rather step on a Lego or have your ankle hit by a razor scooter?
Oh, I was just about to ask that. Lego, definitely Lego.
Right, the razor scooter.
Yeah, I
shit
think
is
so.
Not
I think
it.
Lego.
I mean, you just feel like your ankle's getting sliced off. Like,
Dude, you're done. Like after like, okay, maybe the first one I'll like continue, but if it's like 2 or 3, I'm like, all right, you know what? Today's not my day. Like, let me take my ass back inside,
Yeah,
yeah.
for sure. I had my little skate phase, but eventually you
can't
move on to different things. Life steers you in different directions. I was never meant to be Tony Hawk, which is fine by me. I don't enjoy being in the air on a skateboard.
I think that was one thing that I actually enjoyed back when we were doing in-person classes at UNLV, because I got like a pink Razor scooter and I was like busting my ass around the campus, like on my Razor scooter, my pink Razor scooter. It wasn't even electric or anything, but just like being there
Wow.
like a child, like wind in your face. Like I was like, yes, I'm going to my class across campus on my scooter.
Headphones in.
Yeah, I
Hell
was
yeah.
jamming, and I was like, all right.
For
But
the-
a lot of people have scooters and stuff. Other people have like
Yeah.
electric skateboards and like scooters. I was like, whatever, bitches, whatever.
I still want to
It's
get a
a-
hoverboard. I wanted to wait till like the hype dies down again and maybe they're a little cheaper, but like I fucking love hoverboards.
Those are nice. I really want a Segway for real. I couldn't hear at first. I was like, what's
I was
that?
like, what is that in the
Yeah, I was so
background?
confused.
Some
at
laugh
first.
in the background.
Who is that? Never find out.
Dun, dun, dun.
Close your eyes. Imagine you're on a boat.
Thank
Lauralee,
Ah,
what is the craziest story you can tell me in under 1 minute?
Whoa, that's
Go.
wait, no, wait, okay, wait.
I know
Do
you.
it-
I know you can. I know you're up to the task.
I know, but just give because I really have to pick one. Craziest story in what terms? Like
48, 47. I'm just
no,
kidding.
no,
I'm just
no.
kidding. I'm
What
just
terms?
kidding.
Like
I'm
what
just kidding.
terms are we
Take your
talking about?
time.
What kind of crazy are we talking about?
Like something like really like. I don't
Are we
know.
talking about like
So crazy.
alcohol? Are we talking about like toxic? Or like what are we talking about? What kind of crazy?
Like what's like one of the most memorable things you've ever had or ever done? Like if you were to like, if somebody was like, tell me an interesting story for $1 million right now in under a minute, what story would you tell? This is a new segment. I'm starting this now. I'm gonna ask all
Yeah,
of
I
the
already
guests.
know
You're
what
the-
story I
You're
would
the first
tell.
guest, and I'm gonna ask Donny right after you.
Oh,
I
no,
mean,
I-
okay, so I definitely touched base a little bit with you guys earlier, but when I went to Mexico back in 2016, I just graduated. Well, it was my first year of college, and so it was a family all exclusive to Cancun or whatever. And second day, no one wanted to party. There was a club in the hotel, so I was like, Mom, Dad. Also, I was the only one of my siblings that could drink, so it was me and my parents that could drink. My parents didn't want to drink or anything like that. So I decided to take my ass to the club. Periscope was popping at the time. I got on Periscope with all the homies and stuff. I was like, how many shots should I take? Blah, blah, blah. They're like 22 shots for us. I was like, ah. And, the people in Mexico are like, you pull your head back, shoot the tequila down your throat, and they shake your head and everything like that. Got so drunk, met some English people, and the English people were like, do you know what Sambuca is? And I was like, I don't fucking know what Sambuca is, but I fucking love English people. So let me fucking do some Sambuca with you guys. So that's what I fucking did some shots of Sambuca. And then fucking, I ended up getting super fucking drunk. And then I ended up losing my way around the hotel. Started calling my friends in Vegas, couldn't find my hotel. They had no idea where my hotel room was. And then somehow, by the grace of God, I made it back to the hotel. Woke up completely naked and throw up everywhere, absolutely everywhere. And my family will not let me live that down to this fucking day. They're like, I fucking hate rooming with you. All you do is throw up pasta and lettuce. And I was like, oh, all right, well, love tequila.
That is an awesome story. You set the bar very
That's
high.
crazy. Yeah.
I was trying to go really fast.
No, that was really fast. That was like, honestly, that was probably like 1 minute and 11 seconds.
It would have been a lot funnier if I let you like get some more details, like that was just like
But that
the
was
gist.
for $1 million.
But that was for $1 million. You got it.
Where's my shmoney?
I think you'll have that at some point in a few years. Which brings me into my next question. Donny, I'm not gonna make you tell us a story in a minute.
Oh man, all right. I did have a story.
Were you
now.
prepared?
Yeah, I am.
Donny, tell us a
actually.
story
And,
in a minute.
Well, real quick, just to intro the story. Only a few people know this, and like, I never even thought I probably would tell it like publicly. I thought it would just be one of those things that I kept with me forever. But anyways,
Exclusive.
yeah. So I went to my cousin's wedding in Atlanta, and we were out at the ceremony, whatever, the day before the actual like wedding, and then we ended up going out to the bar with all my cousins. Long story short, get super fucked up. I blacked out. I ended up wandering around and like I apparently got into some shit because long story short, I ended up in a cab on the way back to the hotel. I blacked out during this whole process. Remember being in the cab on the way back to a hotel, didn't have my phone, didn't have my wallet, didn't have my shoes. My polo shirt was gone. Like anything that I had slightly of value, I literally had my jeans and my t-shirt and like my socks on. And I just remember telling the cab driver, like, blah, blah, like, how are you going to pay me? How are you going to pay me? I'm like, bro, I got you. Just take down my phone number. I'll get you back, blah, blah. And he's like, you don't have a phone. Like, he kept trying to tell me, like, I was fucked up. So, like, long story short, I had to be like, call my mom. She's at the hotel. So I had him call my mom. My mom came out, obviously pissed off, freaking out, paid the cab driver. And then, yeah, I was there, and I'm pretty sure I got mugged and robbed because, like, my head was all cut up a little bit. My head was, like, bruised and swollen. Like, I had cuts all over my arm, like, bad.
Oh.
Like,
What
so
the
I'm pretty
fuck?
sure I either got to the point where I was so fucked up that I was getting rid of all my stuff and I fell and whatever, or I was straight up mugged.
Damn.
Yeah.
Alcohol.
And that was, yeah, that was like,
That shit'll do
that was
it.
a little over a year ago now.
Damn.
Yeah. Yeah, so like that's one of the reasons I try not to drink anymore. But
Right.
yeah, that's probably my craziest
Crazy
story. Yeah. Yeah. That's what the world was doing to me, just laughing at me that entire situation. The
Okay, what's
universe.
yours?
Yeah, Jake, you gotta go
Crazy
now.
story in a minute. Jake, go. We were playing this game last night.
Oh, you were prepared.
Oh, you
No,
cheater.
no. I'm not even. No,
Cheater.
we were playing this game last night where it's like you have 5 seconds to name 3 things. So it'd be like name 3 cereals, and you got to go. And you get a point. So this is how I came up with this whole idea. Tell a story in under a minute. One time, my dad, when my dad was younger, he became adopted. My dad is adopted, but when he was still living with his like real mom, she was always working, and so him and his brothers would just be like out, and they live in Florida, and in Florida there's alligators, right? And so my dad is like 9 years old at this point, and he sees a dog in like a swamp, and he sees an alligator going after the dog, and I don't know what he was thinking, but he jumps in to save the dog. Long story short, the alligator bites my dad and brings him down to the ground, and my dad says he just remembers like punching the alligator in its nose, and he says at some point it must have let him go because the next thing he remembered, his brother was like dragging him to shore.
Wait, I thought the craziest story had to do with you.
That does have to do with me because my dad could have died and I would have never been born.
Yeah, I know, but that was like his like crazy moment. Like, what's something crazy for you?
One time
I feel like that doesn't count.
Okay,
Just one time at bank.
I've already told this story on here, but not to the full extent. One time I had to drive home without a phone from California,
Oh my god.
and it was nighttime, and I was very, very tired. Hadn't really slept. I'd been in the hospital the morning before in LA. Didn't have a phone. Didn't know where I was at. And I was driving home, and I was so tired that I had to stop every like 30 minutes for energy drinks. And I was drinking like 2
Oh.
energy drinks like every 30 minutes, and I still was falling asleep. And I fell asleep at some point, and I remember falling asleep, and like I remember waking up and I was going like 30, and I was like, oh shit. And then I remember continuing to drive, and I fell asleep again. And I remember, like in the part where you're going to California or coming back from California, and you're like up on the mountain, but there's the rail. Like I remember falling asleep, and I remember hitting the rail, and like
Dude.
I like got back, I woke back up, and I was like, well, I cannot fall asleep anymore. And like that's why I believe in God to this day. You know what I mean? Like I could, if there's like parts of that road where there is no rail.
Facts. Okay, yeah, that was really crazy.
Yeah, no, that's yeah.
I think I did both those in under a minute.
Damn. Nah, you didn't. Not.
That's the new segment though.
That's interesting. We should definitely do I don't, it could technically be like full episodes, but we should do like a story time type thing.
Whoa, and we could actually live stream that and then have people call in and
Question
on Zoom,
yeah.
and then you could have a minute to tell your story, and then we could have people like live vote.
You want to do like an open questionnaire then right now?
What did you have in mind?
Biggest pet peeve.
Speed bumps.
Damn, that was a good one. I was gonna get like super like deep and be like people saying they're gonna do something and like they don't do it and like not following through. Like that really pisses me off.
I also hate people that like feel entitled.
That too, yeah.
I don't try to hate anything, but one of my biggest pet peeves is like people who feel entitled. Like especially working at a restaurant, like people like I get it, you come there to spend money, but like it's a certain mindset, like in a certain like there's a certain graciousness and like gratitude that like people that I would consider successful or at least like good human beings carry themselves with, you know what I mean? And certain people don't have that, and it's because of like entitlement.
Right, like humble yourself, man.
Yeah.
That's definitely another one. What's
Okay.
yours?
Lauralee.
My biggest pet peeve would be I actually have two of my very biggest pet peeves. So I actually really, really hate it when people stick out their tongues for like photos or anything like that. And they have a no, wait, it gets better. They have plaque on their tongue and it's like all white. I really fucking hate that. And I'm like, man,
funny.
you gotta brush your tongue, man. Y'all
Everybody's
forget
after
about
listening to this,
that?
everybody's gonna go look in the mirror and look at their
No,
tongue.
literally. Yeah. And then my other biggest pet peeve is actually when people take pictures in the dressing rooms with like clothes on that they haven't bought.
Like just
Especially
to
just
advertise it?
yeah, it's not even like
No, just to
it's not
like
even like a paid advertisement for the brand or anything. They're just like, oh, like
But
they're
like
just
the
feeling
post, they're like,
OOTD
yeah, they're
so
just like feeling
outfit of the
themselves.
day,
yeah,
and
okay.
especially when it's a swimsuit suit too. So lesson from that: always wash the clothes that you buy
Oh, for
before
sure. Yeah.
wearing them. I don't know if people do
Especially
that, but
now,
I
too.
definitely do. So those are
Yeah.
like two of my biggest pet peeves. Oh, another one would be I actually really hate it when the under of people's fingernails are dirty. I like really hate that. Like 100%.
Right, like
No, I
just
feel
clean
that.
your fingernails.
A funny
Yeah.
one that always pissed my grandma off, and we used to make jokes about it. But like, if you rubbed your eyebrows like against like the way that they were supposed to go,
Against the growth.
like it would
Yeah.
piss her off. Like we would like
I'd
sometimes
be
like
sitting
me and
there
my
like,
cousins. No, seriously, me and my cousins, like if she would get up and go to the bathroom and like she was telling a story, we'd be like, all right, when she comes back, like everyone just start rubbing your eyebrows, and like she'll sit down and like we'll all just like, and she'll just be like, all right, stop it. Like she'll literally yell at us and like it pisses her off. It's so
No.
funny.
Okay. I don't know what
I don't
the
know.
next question is, but if you guys have one, let me know.
I wasn't ready for questions.
I have a deeper question than your biggest pet
snap.
peeve.
Damn.
Where do you see yourself in 5
I
years?
fucking hate this question.
Uh-huh.
Okay, listen, this is like a terrible interview question too, because like it's like, okay, am I allowed to ask you that question too when you're getting interviewed? You know, like, are you still gonna be at this job or like what? So,
Right. That's a good point. I've never thought of it like that.
truthfully, I hate answering that question because I like to live my life day by day. I'm a very go with the flow person and I take it one step at a time. So, truthfully, the best answer I could give you for myself in 5 years would just, having stable finances, having like, um, my dream home or like building it or whatever, just a lot more stability. That's really what I want. And having a job that I want, my own business by then preferably too. um Having the financial freedom and flexibility, that's what I want in 5 years. But truthfully, I'm just a go with the flow person. So if I only have one of those things, and if I'm just more stable with my finances and like a shitload of money in the bank, that's what I want for myself in 5 years. Truthfully, if I don't have my dream home, okay, but guess what, I got stacks in the bank. So
It's a
Oh,
good way
yeah.
to answer it.
yeah, so I just take it day by day. I know if I'm gonna be at a job, I know I won't be there for fucking long because that's not what I want for myself out of life. So if a, if a job asks me, "Do you see yourself here in 5 years?" Fuck no, I don't.
Right. I always tell them I got at least a year in me. And then I
Yeah.
always say like I'm trying to work for myself here.
Yeah, and you can't expect that out of yourself either because over time you grow, you learn, you find new things out about yourself, and you have different desires and wants and needs for yourself as you go too. So I feel like that's a very loaded question to ask yourself or for other people because I feel like that's also like an old way of thinking too. Like, yes, it's good to set goals for yourself in time like that, but I think it's better like long-term goals. Okay, that's cool. You're asking that question, but truthfully, it's what are you doing tomorrow? What are you doing by next week or next month? I think month by month is like the longest you should set yourself up. And it's like I watched this really cool like entrepreneurship interview last semester, and it was this guy. I forgot his name, but he's really successful. And he's saying, not knowing your next 3 steps, but knowing your next 25 steps is how you be like most successful. And the way to like understanding that, oh, that's getting into detail here, but yeah, that's something I'm trying to work on for myself. So yes, I do have like my next 5 steps planned out, but for 25, I actually do not. And I feel like I'll be more in tune with that for myself once I graduate. Because truthfully, right now, the only thing I have my mindset on is graduating right now.
Yeah, especially
And
with all
that's all
the
I can expect from
schoolwork.
myself. And that's all I'm going to do. That I'm going to put myself into that more than work too. And that's all I'm going to expect from myself right now. So
That was a great way to look at it. Um like basically like breaking it down into it is important to have long-term goals, but your long-term goals will never come to fruition if you don't take those first few steps.
Yeah, and they
And
also
that's
change.
yeah,
So
that's a very good point too.
yeah, so I think it definitely I think the better way to be more successful is actually short term rather than long term. So yeah.
I mean, yeah, I mean, why plan for the long term all the time if you're living in the now?
Exactly. You don't even know if you're going to be alive tomorrow. You don't know what God has planned for you, truthfully. So day by day, that's how I see it.
Yeah, absolutely. And the interview aspect you brought up is interesting too. First of all, I think absolutely if they ask you a question, you should, especially if they ask you for questions, you should absolutely be able to ask them the same
Oh, I'm
questions.
bold with it. I'm like, all right,
Yeah.
I'll answer your question, but you're going to answer it back.
Yeah,
Like,
exactly. And then also I've been hesitant on things that like I shouldn't say at interviews. Like even when I went to Top Golf, like I was applying to be a bar back and like I enjoy bar backing and I got into bar backing kind of on accident. I never like wanted to be a bartender, wanted to work behind the bar, and like I still don't really want to be a bartender necessarily. So like I figured if I say that at the interview, that might turn them off. It'd be like, well, they don't even want to be a bartender. Like, why would we hire them? Like every person I interviewed with, like I even told them because they asked like, what do you plan to do in the next few years or whatever. Like I told them I want to run my own businesses and do all this other stuff and do podcasting and vlogging and whatever. But I just told them like, yeah, I don't want to necessarily be a bartender. Like I enjoy bar backing. I do a good job and whatever, but like I don't necessarily want to take that next step here. And they still hired me. So like it is interesting to just see what people are okay and not okay with.
Sometimes I think they just look for honesty. Like they
Yeah,
try
that
to
too,
find
yeah.
like they try to pick out your character. I feel like people who go in there to like get a job and try to be like really robotic and like read off a script.
for the man. Yeah.
Yeah, like and try to be like, oh, you're this perfect worker. Like, no, you're not. You know.
Yeah, that's how
nobody
they
is.
kind of get you. It's kind of cultish too when they do that. I feel like, and you're giving like the perfect answers. They're like, oh, this is gonna be a great worker, a cog in the
Yeah.
system.
Yeah.
Like when people say like they prepare for interviews, I've never prepared for an
Oh,
interview.
hell no. I mean, my
Like-
very first interview, I definitely asked my dad for help because he's very well successful in what he does. So I was like, Dad, like it wasn't even like anything for in his industry, but I was like, Dad, you've done plenty of interviews and you've given a ton of interviews too. Like, help me prep for this.
Yeah.
And then after my very first prep with him, and like he was being so hard on me, and then my job wasn't even like that.
Yeah.
But truthfully, I go into every interview super honest. I don't care what the outcome is.
Exactly. Yeah.
But yeah, and it's done pretty well for me. And actually, one thing to like keep yourself on your toes, one like industry tip, you're actually supposed to interview at least once a month just to like keep you like, you know, in tune and stuff like that, just to keep you on your toes. You don't even have to be like serious about the job, but it's like a good tip to have at least one interview a month. So yeah, one of my old bosses told me that, and she was like, yeah, I do interviews once or twice a month just to keep me like in check, and like just, you know,
It's
it helps
almost
me
like-
reevaluate too. And I was like, oh, cool. So do I do that? No, but
Yeah. It almost reminds me of just like improv practice where it's like, yeah, you
yeah.
can be a really good actor, a really good interviewer, but like still, if you don't do it for 7-8 months at all, like you're gonna lose some ability.
Yeah. Mm-hmm. But this last interview, actually, I went in pretty honest too. I remember she was like, because I work at an animal hospital right now, which is really cool because I haven't done this industry yet. So I'm like, yeah, this is new. This is fun. And she was asking me, she was like, okay, like we are looking for like long-term people. Do you see yourself lasting here? And I was like, to be honest, no. I don't see myself here, you know, but things happen if I end up staying, you know, a long time, and, you know, I get pay raises and everything like that, and this is a good fit for me, like, then I'll go with it. But, you know, things happen. Like, I can't tell you I'm going to be here for fucking 5 years. No,
Yeah.
like, that's also not in my contract. So, like, there's no, like, obligation from you or myself to do that. So I was like, yeah, no. But if it happens, it happens. I really have no timeline for myself, but I'm gonna be here and I'm gonna do my thing. So she was like, cool, cool, cool. And then she was like, one of my actual, like, the one question I hate, but you should really actually know the answer to this, is when they're like, what's your biggest weakness?
Right.
I hate that question.
I always just say communication. They like that.
Oh
shit.
no, I'm great at communication. I had to sit there and I started laughing. She was like, "Oh, what's so funny?" And I was like, "You know, I mean, I guess I have like a couple weaknesses, but
like, I'm a really strong person if you're asking me."
I was like, but if I have to tell you something, she was like, "Yeah, just give me something that you really think is like you could work better on." And I was like, "Okay, you know." I don't say my jokes at the right time. You know, I'm always a very playful person. So like it could be a very serious moment and I'll joke. So that's my weakness. And she was like, I'm pretty sure she was expecting like a better answer. And I was like, yeah, I joke too much. Sorry. And she was like, all right, this is a bitch. Like, get her out. Like,
See, but they hired you, right?
they
Yeah.
did.
So it's because you were real in the
And
interview.
they really like me there, and I really like everything so far. No one follows me on social media either, so like,
All right, well,
whatever.
let's
I like you guys. You guys are cool.
let's follow up then that with add that to our list of questions. And what is your biggest weakness then? And if you were to be asked that in an interview,
Communication. That's what I feel like.
oh, you still would just say that every
You
time.
still would go with that?
I
Yeah.
always say communication.
Oh yeah. See,
Why do you feel that
do you
way,
think
though?
that's actually your
no,
weakness, or you just
I say
that?
communication because sometimes I feel like when I'm doing a job, I get so wrapped up in the job that I'm just doing what I'm supposed to do, and I assume that other people are doing what they're supposed to do without necessarily communicating it.
See, then
You know
that's a
what I
good
mean?
answer. Like, and
Right?
you're just saying like,
That's why I've gotten every job I've ever interviewed for.
yeah, hell yeah, no, for sure. Yeah, no, I have actually figured out that my answer is actually my biggest weakness is that like I do become just like I don't want to say like shy, but I guess just like timid and like uncomfortable. Like at the bar, like I know what I'm supposed to do, but like if I don't know the bartender, like I don't want to get in their way. I don't want to like be in their way. So sometimes I just like don't do certain aspects of my job, trying to stay out of their way. But like once I just become comfortable and know like, hey, I'm supposed to be doing that, like they know that like I do everything I'm supposed to do. So like I think that's like actually a biggest weakness is kind of like that timidness. But
I think this job I'm working at now is going to be my last job though, because I'm not going to leave until I'm financially free.
Right.
So,
Yeah.
because I make good money there, so it's like I'm not about to go find something else when
Definitely.
shit's
Yeah.
working out. But
hell
gonna
yeah,
get out of there soon. That's the plan.
right.
Yeah.
That's the
Good for
plan.
you.
Get some type of business going. I want to invent something. I think that'd be really cool. Something like, but
I
like
have
I don't.
so many fucking ideas for that shit.
Right? It just patents are so expensive.
Yeah, the
One,
whole process is like so
yeah,
tedious. I think that's actually the hardest part about entrepreneurship, like just the follow through. There's so many great ideas that I have, but like the follow through for myself, actually, I guess that could be my biggest weakness if I have to do that interview question again. Now that I think about it, it actually just came to me. Follow through. It's not like I don't have good follow through on regular tasks or daily things. It's just my follow through from my own ideas, like actually pursuing them and letting them flourish and everything like that, because the process for entrepreneurship is so tedious and so long, and there's a lot of money sometimes that go into these ideas. And then once you do the research and you find out how much you need to put up for the patent or for anything else, then it kind of like it gets discouraging too, especially if you're not in a very broke college student, not
Mhm.
broke, but like responsibly broke.
yeah.
And it's just like, do I have the money to put into this yet? No. Could I get investors? Yes, but that'd have to take more time out of my school schedule, out of my work schedule, and all that. So it's just like that's another thing. Also, I just want my ideas to flourish. That's something I'm going to focus on after I graduate. That's definitely what I'm going to do. Follow through with my ideas and everything like that.
Yeah, and when people don't see that instant gratification, see their idea just boom in the first month
Yeah,
or
they
the
give
first
up.
year,
Yeah,
it's tough.
that's
Like,
why a lot of people fail at entrepreneurship.
I
yeah,
think it's also that when you have that added pressure from an outside person, you almost feel like you don't want to fail because you don't want to let them down. But
Yeah.
when you tell yourself you're gonna do something, the only person you can let down is yourself. And like therefore, in a way, it's almost easier because like, oh, I'm letting down myself, but I am myself, so fuck it, I don't care.
Yeah.
yeah,
So touching base on that, last semester I actually went to an interview and like a Q&A for the CEO of GoDaddy,
yeah.
and he was really great, and that is one of the best pieces of advice that I live to this day, and that has really stuck with me. That has been like the most influential piece of advice that he has given, like throughout my whole time doing the entrepreneurship degree and just like in life in general. Like my parents have given me great advice, but like for this, truthfully, this has stuck in my brain. He said, the only person you're in competition with is yourself. Be a better you than you were yesterday. So always be in competition with yourself. If you can do better than you did yesterday, you're succeeding. So,
Facts.
that was something that actually really like kickstarted something for me. And being a competitive person, I feel like I should have thought of this before, but I haven't. And I'm just like, you know what? I'm competing with myself. So as long as I do better than what I did yesterday, I'm doing better already as a better person, as a better, doing certain tasks or whatever like that. So being competitive, I was just like, I am competing with myself. Like that's a great way to look at it. And so that's just something that I try to live by every single day. Just doing one more thing better than I did yesterday. Doesn't
Yeah, no,
matter.
that's one of my favorite things too. And I always tell people that, like, especially with the competitiveness, like when people go bowling and golf, it's the perfect example. It's like, yeah, you're gonna be going and playing with other people that are at different skill levels than you. But if you're constantly just comparing yourself to how you did the last time, and you're constantly making improvements on yourself, it doesn't matter if you're beating the people around you. It's literally just about
It's all
being better
about
than you
you.
were last time. Yeah.
Exactly. Yep. So that's something that really sticks with me. I mean, some days, you're just overwhelmed and like
Yeah.
you've had so many things to do. So like maybe you're not doing as much as you did the day before, but like maybe emotionally or something in a different aspect, you have done better. So as long as you feel like truthfully yourself has beaten yourself yesterday, that's all that matters.
Yeah.
But there are sometimes everyone has their down days, and there's sometimes where you're not going to beat yourself the next day. You're not going to do better than what you did the previous day, and it happens, and you just have to sit there, recharge. You have to know
Acknowledge it.
yeah, you have to acknowledge it. And that's another big thing about being a successful person in life, not even for entrepreneurship, just being overall successful. The number one thing is self-awareness.
Absolutely. I preach that all the time. Yeah,
Self-awareness. And that's like one of my biggest strengths. I'm very self-aware. I always sit there and think about things for myself, especially. And if I always know the answers to my own problems before anything else, as you should, but I'm very self-aware. I definitely know myself to the T. And if I don't, I know I'll get the answer down like later in the week, later in the day, whatever. So being self-aware is very successful. And, a lot of people our age, like, I feel like they can't really give themselves that credit. They really have some self-awareness to work on and like be able to, do better for themselves in that aspect. And I preach that to everybody, no matter what, as long as you're self-aware, that's fine.
And that's the worst part, not to dive down a rabbit hole, but yeah, those people that are
they
unaware.
Think they are sometimes, but they're not.
Yeah, they think they're self-aware, and if you think you're self-aware, you're not going to work on it. So like,
exactly,
it's just that cycle of you become more and more self-aware.
Yeah.
Don't assume so highly of yourself. Like, think highly of yourself, but don't assume so highly of
Really
yourself.
learn yourself.
Yeah,
too.
to the point where you're lost.
Yeah.
Yeah. Assuming is where you go wrong in many, many situations.
Assuming makes an ass out of you and me.
Straight up.
Correct.
Correcto. Okay.
Lauralee, I know you have a lot of accents. You're very famous for your accents. Do you want to? I know we're getting a little long in here, but do you want to do a few of your accents for us?
Like what kind of accent do you
Wow,
really want?
she's doing it. Oh my gosh.
Damn, I'm so bad with accents. What would be the best accent to like hear?
Honestly, the British accent, that's the best one I can do.
That's your go-to?
To be so honest, I can do that on and off like really well.
We should have had you start like this.
I should have. Today at work, actually, the funniest thing happened. Someone was like saying, "Oh, this British guy came in," and automatically someone said British guy, and I turned it on. Like, see how I just switched it off? I just turned it on, and I was like, hello, how can I help you? It's Laura. And they were so surprised.
Wow. And your name's Laura, so that's like definitely a British name. Like,
yeah. Well, at work, I just say Laura instead of Lauralee because it's so much easier. So I just say Laura. And then she was like, why is this British lady answering the phone? And then I put her on hold, and then I answered in my regular voice, and she was like, am I talking to the same person? I was like, hello. I was like, yeah, you are talking to the same person. How are you? It's Laura. And she was like,
you sound like you could host like a British radio show.
Yeah, no, for
Thank
sure.
you so much.
Awesome.
Can you impersonate any famous people?
No.
Did you just start doing it for fun, or did you like ever use that for anything?
I've always loved like the British accent, and I definitely have to give some credit to one of my best friends, Savannah. We've it was just like something we really loved, and like I think it was like for like a 3-month time period we like couldn't turn our British accents off. So I think that's I have to give a lot of credit to like our 3 months on our British accent for me being able to like turn it on and off. Just us going like we really couldn't turn it off even when it started as like a funny little thing when we would get drunk and like try to finish drinks or whatever, we put on a British accent, and then we ended up getting like stuck in it because like we were watching like British shows too, like what is Love Island and stuff like that. We were watching like a bunch of British shows, so like the accent was just around us like 100% of the time. And so then it ended up being like a 3-month thing, and now we can just turn it on and off all the time, and it's just hilarious. And I feel like it's like a little party trick too. People are like, oh, turn on your British accent. We're like, all right. All right.
Right. You really can turn it on and off though. That's awesome.
Yeah.
Yeah.
That's so great.
What about you guys? What about your accents?
I don't do
I have
accents.
too many to do.
Jakey,
We
get
don't-
in here.
We don't have time for the accents. The people don't want to hear my accents. They want to hear your accents, Lauralee. You have this British radio host accent voice. I can
Do
just do
I?
like King of the Hill, like Bobby and Hank. You know what I mean? We
Yeah.
don't need to hear all that.
Well, I think the people they really do want to hear your accents. You know what I'm saying? Like,
I feel like I'm
we need
listening
some
to someone else
entertainment
talk.
in here. Like,
it really is.
yeah.
That's crazy.
I can't do it. They're gonna have to keep listening to hear the accent.
Honestly,
Do they do
a little
British?
mystery
Oh.
for the next show. So tune in
know what
next
I
week.
mean?
I
See, you can do it. Wow. Okay, you're doing our intro from now on.
I feel like this
Yeah.
Can you say you're
Yes.
listening to High Expectations
In my
in
accent.
a British accent?
What do you want me to do? Like, hello.
Intro us like you're like a
Like this is
like
your
a morning
British
show.
radio
Yeah, like
station.
you're on in the morning. I'm driving to work and I'm like trying to get some vibes from your radio show.
This is a lot of pressure.
You got it. You got it.
Hey guys, it's Laura tuning in with High Expectations. Welcome back to this week's episode. How is everyone doing today?
Fantastic. That gets a 10 out of 10.
I
That
didn't know
was
what to
awesome.
say.
No,
I
that
was like on my
perfect.
toes. I was like, what
That
to
was
say?
perfect. You
Oh,
nailed
that
it.
was perfect.
If I've learned one thing about you from doing this is that you step up to the plate and you get it done.
Don't I?
So I'm having a
Love it.
vision. First of all, do they have British cartoons? I feel like it's a dumb question. I feel like they have to, right?
Yeah, for sure.
Okay,
I mean, I
so-
wouldn't actually know the actual answer, but yeah,
So
they
I
should.
know- Yeah, that's what I thought. Okay, so I know you want to create a cartoon character. I feel like you need to throw in like a British character now.
Ooh, definitely get
gonna
me in
be
there for the
Lauralee.
voice.
Yeah, it's gonna be
Yeah.
Lauralee for sure.
Yeah,
That's
definitely get me
You're
in
gonna
there.
host your own radio show in my cartoon.
All right.
That's what it's
All
gonna be
right,
Lauralee in the
down.
morning.
That's
or-
Genius.
Yeah, Laura.
I like this. That's
Ah, I'm enjoying
Whoa,
this. You just
this
gave me
is
like a
great.
sparkle in my eye.
Right. Hopefully I can get that out by this year, but I'm not gonna talk too much about that because I'm a big believer in like not like putting things out before you're
Yeah.
fully
You don't
ready
want to
to
over
drop them.
manifest
Yeah,
it. Yeah, I feel
yes.
that. Yeah.
Yeah,
Huh?
I had to ask and throw
Hell
that
yeah,
out there.
it's gonna be a
Sorry.
great cartoon though. It's gonna be the best cartoon of all time.
Fuck yeah.
Oh yeah, we're in for the exclusivity. All right, all right, all right. Oh damn.
Oh my gosh. Do you travel a lot?
Okay, before Corona, yes, I did travel a lot. Actually, like my 2019 and 2000. Wait, it was 20 last year. Okay, honestly, truthfully, having the whole Corona thing, I feel like we're still in 2020 because like I feel
Yeah.
like that shit was like moot, like that didn't even count. So I had 2019 and 18. My New Year's resolution was to actually like travel one place every month. If it wasn't somewhere I've been, at least to get to California once a month. And I was doing really well. at that. And usually over summer, so like June, July, August, and sometimes even part of May, I'd always go back to the Bay Area and spend time with my family. So usually my
Mhm.
summers I go in the Bay Area. But since Corona, I haven't been able to do that. And I feel like very not myself. Not that I'm not myself. I just know like when I go to the Bay Area with my family and I just do that stuff too, because I am from the Bay Area. So I just feel like refreshed. I come back and it's just like also being around my family in the Bay Area too. It just makes me come back home and just like want to do better for myself as well. Not that I don't feel like that way here, but it's just like when you come out of state and you just come back in state and then you just feel so refreshed and you're like, so like get to it. Like you feel
Yeah.
so good.
Yeah.
That's
Like you're
just
ready
how
to
it-
get back to
Vacation.
back to
Exactly,
work, back to
exactly.
life.
That's how I always feel when I spend my summers there and I come back and it like, especially spending a summer there instead of just like a weekend, I feel like that high lasts so much longer than it would for taking like a weekend trip to California and then feeling like refreshed for 1 or 2 days,
Yeah,
Oh,
So yeah,
for sure.
but yeah, I haven't traveled. that much.
Where's the next place you want to go, or where would you like to go? Like I want to go to
Um,
Greece. That's like if I had to, if I
I've been
could go
dying to go
one
to
place,
Greece,
like
yeah.
and someone's like, here, you have a free ticket, I go to Greece.
There's so many places I want to go, especially because a lot of places that I have traveled when I was younger, I want to re-experience those as an adult and do adult things. So I would love to go to Spain, Morocco, Italy, and everything again, just as an adult now. But I have been all those beautiful places. I've been to Scotland and England. Actually, that was something I went for. I did like a national tryout back in like middle school for like a group of like teens in the US. We all tried out for like a team to go travel for soccer to the to England and Scotland. Yeah. And I was the only person from Vegas to make it. So I was on this team of like 22 girls in middle school and we all made it from different parts of the US and we all went to competitively play in Scotland and England. That was really dope.
That's awesome.
Yeah.
Did you see the Loch Ness monster?
No. I did get to see Big Ben and the Eye. That was really cool. We didn't have a lot of travel time because it was all like soccer and stuff like that, but we did get to pass by it and take some pictures, but we just didn't get to like do a lot of things.
Yeah, I'm
That's
ready to
awesome.
travel the world. I've only been to Canada and Mexico outside of the United States.
Oh, I've been
I've
so
only
many
been to
places.
Mexico in one time.
I've also been to the Philippines too. So I am Filipino. I did that back when I was like, I want to say like 11 or 12. And that was like an amazing experience. I love that. Absolutely. I felt like I was treated like a queen there. So yeah, that
Oh,
was
yeah.
really fucking fun. I'm also really good at fishing. I found that out when I
Really?
went to the Philippines. Yeah, I'm really good at fishing on like with a bamboo stick.
Okay.
That's
I'm really good. I
crazy.
caught my cousins and I. So my cousins are all boys, and there's one cousin that's just 1 year older than me, and we all had a competition. So I was the only one from my family that went. We went with my grandparents, and then my 3 boy cousins and their mom went. My auntie, they went. We had a competition. They're like, okay, who can catch the most fish? And it's just a bamboo stick and a string. And I was like, oh, I'm in here. They're like, you don't know how to fish, and I was like, bet. I caught the most fish. I caught
Hell yeah.
47 fish.
What
Holy
the
shit.
And I
fuck?
caught the biggest fish.
That's enough
And
to
we
like
cooked
food
my
for
fish
weeks.
and ate it. So yeah, I'm good at fishing. Don't even give me like a high-tech fishing pole. Just give me a bamboo stick and a
Yeah,
string, and I got you.
You just make it happen.
Yeah.
That's crazy.
So
Fishing is kind of like bittersweet though, because it's like when I was younger, like I would love fishing and like catching a big fish and like being like, oh yeah, I caught a fish. Or like one time I caught this sand shark and I'm like, oh, that's so fucking dope. Like fishing off the pier. It was just small. But then it's like, man, now I just like put a whole, and like I don't eat the fish, like so I just throw it back in the ocean. But it's
oh
like,
my
damn,
gosh, I have a
I
funny
just
story.
put a fucking whole hook or a hook hole in this fish's mouth and
Threw it
like just
back.
sent him back in. Like, here, buddy. Sorry.
It's okay. Fish is like piercings too, you know?
Body
Yeah,
mods.
right. It's a good way to look at it.
One time actually my cousin and we actually caught a frog. So
Oh,
this is
wow.
a funny story. So this was back when I was in high school. I had to be like my freshman year. We caught a frog, and then we ended up taking home the frog. We cut it up, cooked it up, and then we tricked my dad into eating it. We were like, oh, we cooked some chicken.
Wow.
We cooked some chicken, and we tasted it first, and it did taste like chicken. It was actually
Yeah.
it was
You ate
decent.
frog.
It was decent. Yeah, the frog we caught. Yeah.
I've
That's
had
respect.
alligator before and it tastes like chicken. Too.
Yeah, it does. But my
not
dad,
buying
his
it.
like his smell and his taste are just like so superior, and they're like so in tune. Like, so he knew it was not frog like right
Wow.
away. So, and we were all obviously giggly too. Like we were trying to contain it. So
Yeah.
we were like, we made chicken, and then he like tries it. He's like, oh, just a little piece. We're like, oh yeah, we have the rest on the grill, but try it for now. Is it good? And he tasted it. He was like, at first, and then he was like, what the fuck did you guys get me? And we were like, it's frog. And he was like, I hate you guys. Like, and we were like, got you.
That's terrible.
funny.
But yeah, that was hilarious. So yeah, I've caught a frog too. Have you guys gone spear fishing?
No.
No.
Oh, that's
I
fun.
barely fish at all in general.
Oh,
Yeah.
well, that's fun. Something you should try. Yeah.
I've gone a couple times and like I really love going and being there and like the experience of just like hanging out and being on a boat and just chilling out,
Yeah.
relaxing, talking. But like I don't need to hold a pole. I don't need to like touch the fish. I don't want to take the fish off the hook.
Fish are
like,
Oh,
slimy.
back into the
Yeah.
dissecting part.
Yeah, exactly. I don't wanna touch
It's
the
not
fish,
worth
exactly.
it.
Yeah,
Fish
no,
are
not
like
about it.
unnecessarily slimy.
Yeah, for no reason. And just
I'll
the
catch it. I
smell
just don't want to cut it.
Yeah, and
Yeah.
just the smell of the lake or the whatever you're at, and like the fish,
The
and
guts.
it smells
And their like
raunchy,
fins are
yeah.
so fucking sharp. That's also unnecessary. Like you like hold a fish down and then you're like trying to take the hook out, and like you look at your hands, you have at least 5 cuts. Like
Dude.
everybody who like actually fishes, they're like, yeah, you idiot. I don't have any cuts. That's why you wear gloves.
I am
some
down
of
to like go deep sea fishing though for like salmon in Alaska. I definitely want to do that like
That'd
one
be cool.
time.
Would
I
you
really
swim
wanna
with
do that.
sharks?
Okay, so crazy story. I actually have unknowingly.
that.
Really?
So yeah, one time when I went to Hawaii, it was like a really murky day, overcast and everything. And that's not a time for like people to go swimming because sharks usually swim closer to shore and everything like that.
Yeah.
So I was like snorkeling with my cousin, and we went pretty far out, and it was murky. No one else was going, but I'm very adventurous, so I was like with it, and I was like, all right, and you just me and you want to go? Because I was gonna go by myself, and he's like, yeah, I'll come with you. So I was like, all right, cool. So we're out there, everyone's hanging back on the sand and whatever, and it's murky. The water's like oh whatever. And we see like these local spearfishers, and they're next to us and everything like that, and we're like pointing at them. We're like, oh, get that fish, and they're like, yeah, we got it, like we live here. And I'm like, okay, whatever. I'm just trying to be like enthusiastic or whatever, having fun. And then all of a sudden, like we're like just swimming around, and like we turn around, and like they're just gone. And we're like, where'd they go? Like, what the heck? And then, so we just kept snorkeling and just like swimming around and nothing, we didn't think anything of it. And then all of a sudden we like popped our head up, because when you're snorkeling, you're just heads down the whole time and you're not really paying attention to anything. So we finally popped our head up and we looked back at shore and all of our family was like, come back, come back, come back. And we're like, okay. So we were like taking our sweet ass time and whatever. And then by the time we got there, the locals had left and everything like that. And they're like, yeah, the locals said that the area that you guys were all in, there was like 4 tiger sharks over there. And you
Holy
guys were like,
shit.
you guys were like swimming with them. And I was like, dope. And they were like, yeah, you definitely could have gotten like your foot chopped off or whatever. And I was just like, okay, well, I definitely didn't know. And now that I do know, am I gonna go back out there? Probably no, but that's dope. Like I didn't even know
it's
they were
cool as fuck.
there. Like
It's
Oh,
probably,
see,
it's
that's
probably
giving
better
me-
to do it that way.
exactly. I
It's
was
like-
minding my own business, letting them mind their business. We weren't in the way of each other. So yeah. So, but apparently we were like really close. That's why the spear fishermen left, and like they didn't even tell us. I was like, y'all, like what the fuck? But anyways, I was like, that's cool.
Because you guys were heckling them while they were spearfishing.
Yeah, probably. They're like,
no,
oh,
that
these
story
fuckers.
just gives me anxiety just thinking about it. Like, no, I wouldn't just swim in the ocean. I'll go on a boat in the ocean. Like,
I
on a
love it.
cruise
I
and
love
whatever.
it.
But like, I don't know about.
I'm
swimming.
down for
I love
it.
the ocean.
I'm down for it. I mean, yeah, there's always that off chance possibility, you know, but like, I mean, there's a risk with everything in life, you know. So
I just normally try not to mess with like the unknown and what I can't see, and like everything under the water for the most part is like unknown.
Dead
oh,
eye.
It
for
just
sure, I
scares
feel
me.
that. But like, there is
Yeah.
this one place in Hawaii. If you go to Maui, you can take like a boat ride to Molokini. It's like this little island. It's like maybe a 30 to hour minute ride out there, and it's just like this crescent type of thing, and it's the clearest water over there, and you can snorkel and everything like that, and you see all the fish, all the colors and everything. Like it's beautiful. I absolutely love it. And usually every time we go and I snorkel, I don't know why. I really don't know why, but usually I always end up going by myself, and the turtles always gravitate towards me. And you're not allowed to touch turtles or anything like that.
Yeah.
You get fined and everything like that. You go to jail and whatever. So I usually end up all the turtles gravitate towards me, and I end up swimming around with them. I never touch them or anything. But then there's always that one ignorant person that comes over and starts touching them, and I'm like, up, get this guy out of here. He's fucking up my
Yeah.
vibes.
You're like the turtle
Yeah.
queen, and you're just like
Literally.
swimming, living like.
Yeah,
Like, don't touch my fucking turtles.
turtles have always been my favorite animal, and elephants too. Those have been my number ones for like my whole life. So I'm not actually that's not surprising to me, you know. I was just like, yeah, I already knew this was gonna happen.
Turtles and
Yeah.
elephants. I
I
feel like
love turtles.
this is
Yeah.
definitely like a broad statement, but I feel like a lot of girls really like elephants, and it's such a strange thing to me because like, why elephants?
I think the elephant thing kind of when I was younger, I had to be like 4 or 5. My aunt asked me like, "What's your favorite animal?" And I was like, "I don't know, what's yours?" And she was like, "Oh, an elephant." And I was like, "Oh, that's cute." And then she ended up telling me like the luck behind elephants, and like if their trunks are pointed up, it's actually very lucky. And
Mhm.
also in the Filipino culture as well, dragonflies are also very lucky. But I don't really like dragonflies, whatever. So, but I like I know elephants, just like the trunk up in general, is very lucky.
Mhm.
So, and I just think I love elephant decorations and everything like that. So I'm totally into it. I don't think I have like a specific reasoning, but I know some people have said like, you know, they're very intelligent and like gentle creatures and everything like that. And they have great memories and everything. And yeah, they do. But personally, I just found that like elephants and their trunk up have brought me a lot of luck over the years. So that's just something that's just stuck with me, just like the turtle thing. So it's just been something I've really enjoyed and liked since I was younger. I don't think I have a definite
Yeah.
reason behind
I don't know.
it.
I was just interested. It just seems like, I don't know. Maybe I gravitate in like all the women in my life just like gravitate towards liking elephants. I don't know what it is. It
I
just
could
feels
be.
it feels like every time I turn around, like somebody says like what type of animal they like, and it's like a woman, they say like elephant.
Yeah, it could be total like a bandwagon thing too. Maybe they don't have an elephant, but they see everyone like loves elephants on
So
social
now
media
they're
and stuff
into
like that, you
elephants.
know, and they're
Yeah.
elephant tattoos. So they're like, oh, I like,
I'm
you
on to
know,
you fake elephant girls.
no, fakers, posers. Just kidding.
Do you know what your spirit animal is? Do you have an idea?
Yeah, actually, I think it's tiger sharks and turtles specifically because of what happened in Hawaii with the
Mhm.
tiger sharks. That's actually happened like twice, 2 or 3 times.
Wow.
So, not specifically like the same events over again, but I have been in like close range with them again, just swimming, minding my own business, and they've been there. And I found out after the fact. And I told you the turtles always gravitate towards me, so I think it's definitely tiger sharks or turtles.
You must have been a mermaid in a past life.
Dude, I was wondering, but also at the same time, you know those like little like National Geographic things where they do like those mermaid specials and they look like totally scary. Yeah, I'm like, maybe let's not call me a mermaid.
Right. I guess yeah, like sometimes the mermaids are depicted as like super well, I guess like in like real mythology, mermaids were like super scary looking. You know
That's
what
what
I
I'm saying.
mean?
I'm like, why do you like how do you even know for sure? Like that could just be a story passed down, you know? We don't
Right.
actually know if they were scary, but could I have been? Maybe.
Right.
Some people say I'm scary.
So much unknown.
Some people are intimidated by me. I've heard from a lot of people. So I'm like, all right, maybe
you're,
I
you're
was a
very
mermaid.
confident. Confidence can come off as intimidating to certain people.
I guess, yeah,
no, that's true.
yeah, I can. But then when I hear that, I'm like, why? Like,
And then you're pressing, why am I
I'm
intimidating
like,
you?
why am I intimidating you? Why don't you want to talk to me? And then I'm just like, I'm a cool person, but you don't want to find out because you're scared of me. Like, ask me anything, I'll answer any question.
People like to judge.
I'm just a very open person, so it's just like whatever.
You are. This has been awesome. I don't really have anything else I need to ask. Do you have anything you want to say?
No, just thank you for having me, and I'm happy I finally got the chance to do this. I know we've had
Right.
some rescheduling things and everything like that, but you know, life happens, and I was just like, yeah, it's okay. But I've been dying to do this, so
This has been really
thank you
fun.
so
Honestly, I
much.
think people are really gonna enjoy this one. You are a very enjoyable person, Lauralee.
Oh, thank
Uh,
you.
we're gonna touch back in with you in 5 years. I know you don't have a 5-year plan, but we're gonna touch back in with you at
Give
some
me my
point later
$1
on,
million.
and we're gonna be like,
Oh,
when
yeah,
you're
Jake
when
owes
you're
you a
run-
million.
yeah,
Where's
right.
my million?
That's gonna take time. Like I said, I gotta move from the checking to the savings and back.
Yeah,
and that
you're
takes 3
trading
wait on
and
years.
the
all.
bank
You
account
do
to
your
set up.
trading in stocks. All right, when you
Exactly.
get that million,
When
don't
it
forget
hits,
about me,
when it
man.
hits, I got you. But yeah, we're definitely gonna have you back on at some point if you
Hit me up
like to do it.
whenever. I'll come in whenever. You know me, open. I'll talk about anything.
Hell yeah.
I can also just do a full segment just with the British accent. If you really want me to, I can totally do that for you.
We
Can
could-
you?
I was gonna say we could for sure do a full British talk show episode and cover like some British
maybe
news and some
maybe
British
once we get a
stories.
little bit bigger, we'll do something where we'll have like 3 people or 4 people come on, and everybody just has to talk in an accent. And if you break your accent, you're out, and like last person wins like $100
I've
or
done that for
something.
like a King's Cup rule where everyone has to speak in the
I'll be
British
the
accent.
judge.
Yeah,
I don't know if I got an accent.
yeah, I'll be in there. I'll compete to
All
try to
right,
save.
all
I'll
right.
put the $100 up, and then I'll compete to try to save my own money.
I think we should all put $20 in for like a pot
Oh,
instead of not
yeah,
putting
that's more
$100 in.
fair, right?
I'm like, yeah, I don't want to put 100 up myself.
Right, yeah.
Hell yeah.
Can you send us out in a British accent? I would
What
love
would you
that.
like me to say?
Like something like thanks for listening to High Expectations, and then I'll throw something else in there, maybe in an accent, probably not.
All right. Thanks so much, guys, for tuning in to High Expectations. I hope you guys enjoyed this episode, and we will be back next week.
Thank you, Lauralee. It's been a jolly good time. Peace out, everybody.
Peace out.